Nice to see five of you. I mean, five of us.
All right, you're good to go.
All right, welcome to the Castaic Union School District School Board meeting of September 21st. We're going to call the meeting to order at 5:32 p.m. And we will now have a roll call. Ms. Maxson? Did she say something? I don't see her. Did we lose?
Dropped out. I'm letting her back.
There? Okay.
There she is.
Ms. Maxson, we're calling the meeting. We just called the meeting to order, and we're going to have a roll call. And you're the first on it. So, Ms. Maxson?
Sorry, I abstained.
Mr. Malcolm?
Here.
Mr. Richard?
Here.
Ms. Pearson? I think Ms. Pearson said here. Yes.
Here.
Okay. And I'm here. So all of us are present. Mr. Malcolm is going to do the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
Everybody, please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Richard, second by Ms. Pearson. We will now vote. Ms. Maxson?
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richard?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. We will now, it says hearing session. Were there any advance requests to address the board or anything? Okay, I'm guessing no.
Yes, no.
Okay, we will now move on to the action items. Action item number 1, approval of agreement between Castaic Union School District and Alliant Consulting Incorporated. Can I get a motion to approve this item?
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Pearson,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Richard. And for each of these items, was there a presentation or how much explanation, Mr. Doyle, were you guys wanting to?
I don't believe there's a presentation, but maybe Jaime could just do a brief summary, real brief,
Okay.
about what this item is, and if there are
All right.
questions.
All right, Alliant Consulting will provide labor compliance oversight for the Live Oak Elementary project. This is to ensure that we have a skilled workforce. It is one of the requirements for a lease back. And they will also do all of our payrolls and BIR regulations. So this item is the first time the district has done a labor compliance program, and we were happy that Fonder and Solari helped us with this process because it's quite unique, and I'm certain Alliant will be a good choice for this project.
All right, thank you, Mr. Garcia. Were there any questions from board members? Okay, we'll now vote. Ms. Maxson,
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richard,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and an aye by myself. Motion passes. Action item number 2, approval of agreement between Castaic Union School District and Independent Construction Inspection. There a motion to approve this item?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Malcolm,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Pearson. Was there a presentation or anything, or any questions from board members?
I can say that independent construction inspection, we have a very good inspector. Mr. Jameson is a ESA 1 inspector, is offered to do this, and I think he's very interested in this primarily because he is a Castaic resident. I think with this agreement, we not only get someone who's well qualified, but someone very interested in working for Castaic School District and representing not just the board, but also the children. I'm excited about this.
And the community. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Were there any questions from board members? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we will now vote. Ms. Maxson,
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richard,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and an aye by myself. Motion passes. Item number 3, approval of agreement between Castaic Union School District and Twining Incorporated. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay. Was there a presentation or any questions for board members?
I actually see Jeff is on. He was with Twining. I don't know if Jeff wanted to say a couple things about his company.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Mhm.
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to thank all of you board members, and on behalf of Twining, we will be providing inspection and material testing services for this project, and we are excited. We recently just finished Castaic High School with William S Hart School District, and that took us about 3 years, and I'm happy to inform all of you it went very well. And we are happy to be back in Castaic. So I appreciate all of you as well as Founder Salary Organization. And thank you very much for the project, for the job. And I would be happy if you folks approve it.
I should say that we have no intention of moving this project to 3 years.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Are there any questions from board members? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we will now vote. Ms. Maxson,
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richard,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and an aye by myself. Motion passes.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Burke, do we have a first and a second on that?
Yeah. I didn't-
Oh, did I forget to ask for a motion?
Yeah.
I did.
You might have.
Didn't I? I must not have. Okay, so then I guess we got to rewind. Okay, is there a motion? I thought I did that before I asked Jaime if we had a presentation.
I didn't have it.
I may have missed it, I'm sorry.
I'll move. To
Okay.
go through, yeah.
Motion by Mr. Richard
And I'll retroactively second.
Yeah.
and Mr. Malcolm, and we'll vote again, I guess. Do we have to
Any
vote?
more discussion?
What? Yeah, can we have
Any
a
more
discussion? Okay.
Aye.
Do we have to vote now after the, I don't know, procedurally?
Go
Cover
ahead,
the-
just take another vote if you would.
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Maxson,
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richard,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye, aye.
and an aye by myself. Motion passes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back and watch the video and see if I messed up. Okay, item number 4, approval of amendment to the sublease agreement with the Nazarian Group for Live Oak. Is there a motion to, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the sentence. Live Oak Elementary School construction under the lease-back agreement. Is there a motion to approve this item?
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Maxson,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Pearson. Was there any presentation or questions?
This was our first lease-back agreement. It did take some time. If you remember back in May, we presented the whole lease-back agreements to you, the site lease, the sublease, and the lease-back. I wonder if Ami would take just a couple seconds just to kind of explain to them what they're seeing tonight as a sublease and the installment plan.
Sure.
Good evening, board members, and thanks for the opportunity, Jaime, to talk about this. As Jaime mentioned, this is part of the process for finalizing the agreement for lease-leaseback contract. This portion is basically the cost of construction, but because it's a lease-leaseback and the payment supposed to be the construction progress payment supposed to be made as lease payments, you have a schedule of payments that goes beyond the duration of construction, and that's part of the statute of lease-leaseback. Technically, if you don't do that, you are not following the state of California regulation. And the number that's in front of you has various components. It has the actual cost of construction, the general condition for the contractor, the fee. The general condition and fee was originally approved back in May when you approved the lease-leaseback contract, the percentage of fee and the actual amount of general condition. And now the actual cost of construction is added to that. Plus we have two other components. It's an owner control contingency and an allowance. So that makes the total amount of the total sublease amount. And there is another attachment that's called the schedule of payment that makes the monthly payments to pay the contractor this amount. Obviously, the allowance and the contingency may not be used or may not be utilized at all. This schedule of payment is subject to adjustment. If we don't use any of the contingency amount, obviously you are going to receive another schedule of payment for approval that removes the contingency. And if we use any amount of the contingency for any potential change orders, that again will be deducted from the contingency, and again you're going to have a revised schedule of payment as we move forward throughout the construction. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Are there any questions? And I just want to say I neglected to welcome our visitors, so just thank you for being here, Mr. Solari and Mr. Founder and Mrs. Founder and Dave and Mr. Tawakoli.
Tawakoli. Thank you. That's correct. Yes.
And and Patty, thanks for being here as well. So okay.
Can I ask one quick question? This project, overall project cost is a little bit higher than we've seen in our prior estimates. Is it fair to say that some of that's based on cost of materials and so forth in this current environment?
Definitely, yes. We are in a very unpredicted kind of construction market because of the construction issue, material issues, labor issues. I was expecting even higher than this. This is within the budget lines that we have. And again, this number has two components. That's not actual cost of construction, is the contingency of the project. So considering the market that we are, you're absolutely right. It's because of the big part of that is the cost of material, the increases and escalations that we see all around, and construction industry is part of that, and also some labor issues. So we, like any other industry, construction is also suffering from lack of labor these days.
So it's safe to say we have enough padding in our contingency that hopefully we'll be at or under budget?
I think the way that we plan this, I am very optimistic that we are going to have a credit change order at the end of this project, and the big chunk of contingency is going to be back to you. It's 8%. The plans are good quality, and I think everything is clear, and the scope of the project is not very complicated. So I'm very hopeful that we are going to come back to you in like 8-9 months with a credit change order to close the project.
Good news. We'll have cake for you when you show up.
Chocolate.
I think we should say that we intend to start construction immediately after this board meeting. Once the board approves, we'll issue the notice proceed and get started fall break.
Great.
It was exciting to see the April 2022 date. When I read through all that, that's like, wow, we have a date. So
We're going to finish it on your birthday.
My birthday month, yes. Yeah, that's really neat to see, and I'm praying that it stays that way.
All right. Are there any other questions? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we will now vote.
Aye.
Ms. Maxson?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Malcolm?
Aye.
Mr. Richard?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And an aye by myself. Motion passes. I think it's pretty exciting. This is a great meeting because we're passing off a lot of things. They're going to get live outgoing. So this is very momentous. And thank you to everyone at the district office and all of our contractors that work to make this happen and get to this point. So thank you. And to the architect's office. So, all right, item number 5, approval of agreement between Castaic Union School District and Remote Medical International. Can I get a motion to approve this item?
Move.
Move.
Sure.
Motion by Ms. Maxson,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Richard. Were there any questions?
Well, I just want to frame this. I just want to frame this to start first, and then I know Laura, I'll let you go. But I just want to, first of all, big shout out to Lynette. She didn't know when she became a CBO that she was going to also become a COVID testing expert. I have been on a few meetings, but she spent countless hours working with different companies. We've met with all our local districts to see what everybody's doing so we could flush out what was best for our district. And I do want to thank Laura because she directed us to this resource that we have in front of you that we probably wouldn't have had without her connections. So Laura.
With that being said, this is obviously the company that I've worked with for the last 9 months. So I will abstain from the vote. Lynette and I have talked as far as my recommendations as far as how many testers we need to have, how it needs to run smoothly. I know that they have been in its protocol. Always we say it's a 12-hour test, but with the company and the lab that they'll be using, we actually get the results back before 12 hours. So Lynette's thinking about a Thursday test date. So we will have results by Friday morning, just in case we have anything that goes wrong and we need to let people know that they can't be on campus. So that's a really good thing. And then I've also made a recommendation to RMI as to who I would like to see testing in the district. And one of them happens to be somebody that used to work for Saugus. So she's very in touch with the school culture. And she was one of the nurses in the Saugus School District. So I'm super excited about that. Unfortunately, I won't be able to work with Castaic for a couple different reasons. But I'll be on the back burner and helping Lynette out with whatever I can as far as RMI is concerned.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, thank you, Laura.
I guess I do want to say that I appreciate Laura's answering my questions and helping me with all of this. I actually also want to thank the other districts because they did allow me to sit in on interviews they had arranged with other companies. So I sat on interviews with 5 companies. It isn't like, oh, we're just went with the company that we knew. I sat on several interviews. Actually, some of the companies I talked to twice, maybe even 3 times. And many of these companies are new companies and they don't really have everything settled. So I feel very confident that RMI, as a company that's been around for many years providing medical services, has the staff and the expertise to to fulfill our needs. So that's really important that I think we put out there, that we did talk to several companies, and I really feel like this is the best fit for Castaic for a lot of reasons. So I feel thankful for that.
Thank you, Lynette. Were there any questions from board members?
And Lynette, it's testing once a week, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And we're going to do it at the district office on Thursday, and there will be somebody that's available through the full day. So we will evaluate that based on, if we see that no one's coming in the morning, obviously we'll adjust those times with the agency. And this agency really appears to understand what we need, and they're listening and trying to work with us. So at the beginning, we're going to have a lot more support than we probably will need once we get it down. So
Yeah, the process for setup, just so everybody understands, is long story short, the district will send out a QR code to everybody that has to test, and then they have to get signed up and get their own QR code to test. And in that process, it's a lot of computer, like putting things into an app and getting something in your email. And it's just a lengthy process to get everybody set up. And I had recommended to Lynette that she ask for at least 2, possibly 3 testers on the first couple of weeks. Once everybody's set up and they have their own QR code, we will teach them how to save it into their favorites, and then they won't have to do that again. And then the testing will go super, super quick. And then Lynette, I shared this with Steve earlier today, so I'll share it with you. I know that you guys were told that it's harder to get a tester for a short period of time. That's not true. Joel was telling you what happens on the oil and gas side of it.
Right.
All of the nurses that work in our area all work full-time at the hospital. So they're super happy to pick up a 4-hour shift. So if we get to that point where we only have to do 2 people for 4 hours, then that would save the district some money too.
Right. And he just wanted to be completely honest about, and have everything covered. He didn't want to like shortchange us. He was like, this is the top of what the cost would be. So I appreciated that.
Okay.
And for clarification, employees are not required to be tested with us. They just have to show proof of a test. So they can go to their own healthcare provider, which is an option for people as well. But we wanted to make something as convenient as possible to minimize disruption for those employees. And we did, as you approved last month or earlier this month, the grant for the funding to support this. We don't think we're going to be able to test kids because, as we know, quarantine kids or positive kids don't all happen on Thursdays. So the testing component's probably going to be like we've done currently. If a child is considered a close contact and is quarantined at home, they can test on the 7th day if they've been asymptomatic and bring that test in and then come back to school if it's negative. The new change with the quarantine for close contacts that we're going to be reviewing allows for kids to test on the 1st or 2nd day and the 5th day and come back if they've been asymptomatic, even if they've been exposed. So that's going to have to be a responsibility of the parent to do that if they want their child to come back earlier from quarantine. We just don't have the means, and our funding would run out, mid-year probably if we tested all the kids too.
And then I just wanted to confirm that this testing is a state mandate, but we are paying for it through a grant from the federal government.
Correct. The federal government gave the state money, and then the state gave it to the counties, and counties delegated it out to districts if the districts were going to have a service provided.
And then did we get enough to get us through the school year?
We do, depending on the number of substitute employees that have to test with us. I anticipate having a little bit of extra money left over in the end. We would only be able to use that money for either testing or for vaccination. So although we might have some money available to us, we would have to be able to show that we used it for those purposes. But I think that we will have a little bit of reserve money at the very end.
Okay.
So.
All right. Laura, did you?
We're not going to have an excess, but we will. I think that we definitely have enough to cover us through the year.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to end up negative somehow.
Right. Well, and if this is a reimbursement, so we won't receive any of the money until we've spent it.
Okay.
So there's not a chance that I'm going to be sitting on money that then I have to send back to this county or anything like that. It won't work that way.
Okay. Laura, did you have another question?
I just had a statement actually, and I'm finding this at my new job, is that you might want to clarify to everybody up front that the testing is available to the people that need it, not the people that want to test. Because at my current job, 98% of the people that walk in are vaccinated, but they went to a concert this weekend, or they're going to see their grandparents over the weekend, and they just want to get tested because it's there. And where I'm working has the money to do that. We don't have the money to do that. So we might just want to clarify that this is only as a necessity.
So it's only for those that are not vaccinated that need to get weekly testing, and also those staff members that may have been exposed, or who else would maybe need to be tested?
This is really intended for the unvaccinated staff, not somebody who thinks they've been exposed.
Okay.
Because realistically, if they've been exposed, we should be telling them to go home and see their healthcare provider to make sure that our staff is safe.
Okay.
We don't
we
want
have-
them to come and be with the people who we know are not. We don't want to expose people that have not been exposed.
Okay.
And it's like, once you say that, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's like, if you think you're sick, don't go and be around employees that are not sick. Go to your healthcare provider.
Okay. Is that it?
Well, I have one question. Do we have an estimated number or projection of how many people we're looking at that are not vaccinated?
We have 70 employees that I don't have vaccination records on at this point. And I don't have an exact number of the substitutes. It's looking like probably about 20 to 30 substitutes. But that number is a little bit more fluid than our employees.
And they have until the 15th, I believe, to submit that?
Correct. We've asked them to submit it already, just so we could start planning, and we will accept a vaccination card at any point in time.
Right.
So once they become vaccinated, if they make that choice, then we will still accept the card. We don't have a hard deadline that we have to follow.
Okay. All right. If everyone's good, we will now vote. Ms. Maxson,
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richard,
Aye.
and Ms. Pearson.
Abstain.
Okay. And an aye by myself. Motion passes. All right. So that's the last of our action items. I don't believe there are any discussion items or any other presentations. So can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Malcolm, second by Ms. Pearson. We will now vote. Ms. Maxson,
Aye.
Mr. Malcolm,
Aye.
Mr. Richard,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and an aye by myself. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned at 6:30.